Good evening, everyone. We begin the meeting by acknowledging the continuing connection of Aboriginal people to country, culture and community, including traditional custodians of this land, the Wadandi and Kaniang people of the Noongar Nation, paying respects to elders past and present. And we declare the meeting open at 5 p.m. This briefing session is being live streamed and recorded in accordance with Council Policy EMCP2. Members of the public are reminded that no other visual or audio recording of this meeting by any other means is allowed without the permission of the chairperson. While every effort has been made to only record those who are actively participating in the meeting, loud comments or noises may be picked up on the recording. Agenda briefings are open to the public to attend and observe. However, any questions, deputations or petitions are to be presented to the Ordinary Council meeting. There will be no debate-style discussion, as this needs to occur at the ordinary meeting of Council when the issue is set for decision. In attendance this evening we have myself, Councillor Vivian McCarthy, Councillor Alexis Davey, Councillor Anne Mitchell is attending via live stream, or listening in via live stream, Councillor Lisa Glover, Councillor Peter Gubler, Councillor Grant Patrick and Councillor Anita Lindeman. Staff present are our CEO Nick O'Connor, our Director of Operations Ross Marshall, Acting Director of Finance and Corporate Lauren Clifford, and Administration Officer Corporate Services Sam Farquhar, and Manager Financial Services Meta Hazeldine. Councillor Deanna Shand and Councillor John Bailey have both given their apologies for the meeting. There are no approved leaves of absences, or they're not relevant to the agenda briefing, but for the meeting next week, the Ordinary Council meeting, Councillor Shand has submitted a request for a leave of absence for the July 2025 meeting. Item 3 is not relevant to the agenda briefing, and item 4, declarations of interest, we will read through. Division 6, Subdivision 1 of the Local Government Act 1995 states that care should be taken by all councillors, committee members and staff to ensure that a financial and impartiality interest is declared and that they refrain from voting on any matter which is considered to come within the ambit of the Act. Do we need to declare items or make declarations of interest at the agenda briefing? Councillors? Staff? No. So we have no public question time at item 5, so we'll move on to item 6, presentations. And not happening tonight, but noting that next week we will have 2 deputations under 6.3 for the meeting. The first is from Rachel Atkinson on behalf of the Donnybrook Baling Up Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the second is from Karen Maggi regarding the Baling Up Playground proposal. Moving on through to item 7, confirmation of minutes. Do councillors have any questions regarding 7.1.1, Ordinary Council meeting held on the 25th of June? Moving on to item 8. Do councillors have any questions regarding 8.1, the Warren Blackwood Alliance of Councils committee meeting held on the 3rd of June 2025? Moving on to item 9, reports of officers. There are none for the meeting next week. And then at 9.2, Director of Finance Corporate. At 9.2.1, we have the schedule of accounts paid as at the 30th of June 2025. Do councillors have any questions? Councillor Patrick.
Thank you. Just a couple. EFT 31208, which is a contribution for substructure repairs to Bridge 3617.
What page number are you on?
Page number 24 of 41.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's obviously the bridge that was damaged by a fire, and that's one that we're claiming that back through insurance, so we're paying it out initially. Is that correct?
Just
I think Mrs Hazeldine, I've asked her to follow that one up. Thanks, Councillor. So that one is for the Bridge Street repairs. Yep.
Yep, sorry, so that's,
The Bridge Street
oh, sorry, the
repair.
Bridge Street
It's
repairs.
a separate bridge.
Bridge Street
540,
Bridge.
okay.
You'll also see, councillor, further on in the payments, there's an insurance claim for Irish Town Bridge
Yep, okay.
as well.
All right, thanks. And the other query that I have, it's just on, I think it's the previous page, and it's, bear with me one second, I've just lost it. Vision IT it's for, and I was just wondering what that's for. It's 70-something thousand. Yeah, IT Vision. And I was just curious as to what that's for. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, councillor Patrick. Acting Director of Finance and Corporate.
Yeah, IT Vision is the provider of our ERPs that we have for our for the Shire, or Synergy Soft annual subscription.
Councillor Davey.
So I am looking at page 21 and 41, going by the PDF numbering system, not the bottom of the page. EFT 31136, the Cooler Gold rates refund. I was just wondering, is that how that relates to the mining exploration?
Thank you, councillor Davey. CEO, would you
Yeah,
like
so I
to
might have to
respond?
take that one on notice. I did sort of preempt, but I didn't check that one out. I'm not sure offhand whether Mrs Hazeldine is aware of that refund and what the sequence of events that brought about that refund of the rates. But we can possibly take that one on notice if you don't have the answer.
I did note also, councillor Davey, that there was a refund on the standpipe charge too, so perhaps they've left town. Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Moving on to item 9.2.2. Manager Financial Services. Meta, would you like to introduce that report?
Thank you, President McCarthy. So before I start reviewing the financial statements, I just wanted to make a note that the statements are an interim report. They're still subject to further end of financial year transactions and adjustments that will still need to be processed. So if, sorry, Samantha, if you could bring up the statement of financial activity, please, from the attachments. Yep, that's it. Sorry, just go back to the first. Yep, that one. So the statement of financial activity for the period ending 30th of June, there's a closing surplus of 1.6 million against a budgeted surplus of 125,000. So that is a favourable result, but it's also important to note that included in that surplus is an advance payment of 1.2 million. This is 50% of the financial assistance grant that is paid in advance. That's from the Local Government Grants Commission. Due to this grant being untied, the revenue is recognised when the payment is received. So that was received in June. However, it's for the 25-26 year. Yep.
And I guess through you, Shire President, it's quite whilst we always welcome receiving money from other tiers of government, it's quite a frustrating process because there's no certainty around the actual quantum of the payment and the timing of the payment. So it has the unintended consequence, as Mrs Hazeldine has outlined, of potentially for the those that sort of don't understand the local government context, it can be seen as skewing the overall result because it is untied funding. So it needs to be recognised in the year that it is actually received. But it's becoming more common than not that we actually receive a prepayment. But as I said, it's just a little bit frustrating around the lack of certainty around the quantum and the timing of that prepayment.
So this actually contributes towards the revenue for operating activities. So the $200,000 variance that we can see there. So that grant is also offset by some other areas that are less than estimated. So protection of environment grants is about 400,000 there, and insurance reimbursements also less than estimated, about 700,000. So moving on from there, the interest revenue.
Excuse me, Meta, would you like Sam to bring up the variance page?
Yes, so that's also on page 6.
That's it.
No, it's very
Thanks,
small.
Sam.
So, yep, interest revenue there tracking favourably against the budget at 85,000. Moving on from there, onto expenditure from operating activities. The materials and contracts is under budget at 1.19 million there. So this is made up of the following areas that are less than estimated. So we have other governance consultants at 105,000, waste consultants at 226,000, and environmental projects at 396,000, and bridge maintenance at 252,000.
Can I just, after that
Ask the
one, can I
questions,
just ask questions on the other consultants? There's a variety of variances there that make up a really favourable result. How was that achieved?
I believe some of the consultants, the actual expenditure hasn't been incurred yet this financial year. Yeah.
So can I suggest, sorry to cut over you, Ms. Hazel, but I suggest that it's a timing issue, and some of that will potentially be carried over. So I'd, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Mrs. Clifford, one of the governance consultants would be to do with our IT strategy development. So that's a significant proportion, or a proportion of that $105,000. I can't give you an indication of the breakdown of the rest of them, but I'd suggest that...
It's helpful to know that they're timing, I guess.
I don't want to speculate, but I do know that one around the IT strategy, but I would say a lot of it would be to do with timing.
Thank you.
And I also want to note that with some of these projects that haven't been completed, they will be carried over to the 25-26 year.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful.
So the next sort of large variance here to note would be the proceeds from capital grants, subsidies and contributions there. So this result is less than budget estimate, so at 2.9 million. And this is made up of a variety of different grants and contributions. So, for example, the Black Spot 407,000, Main Road 732,000. BC Mitchell Park, 876,000. So you can see there the detail which contributes to that 2.9 million. Yep.
Sorry, just to clarify, are some of those timing issues as well? I'm hoping most of them are timing issues?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Want to talk about LRCIP, Mr.
Mr. President, one of the things with our system is you can't forecast over a number of years, and some of these projects actually go from year to year, that you basically they all come into play in June. So a lot of what you're seeing is relating to timing, particularly the roads projects, and VC Mitchell Parks is a very good example where we hadn't planned to spend that money or that expenditure, but that's because we're not doing it until the next financial year, but we can't put it in our system that way until we get a new budget. So a lot of it is hinging on that. Thank you.
And sorry, through you, President, Mr. Mitchell, is it worth just alerting Council to the LRCIP, and the fact that we're around the extension, the timing around that?
Oh, yeah, no, I think, I mean, I think, you know, we've got to Yeah, we've requested an extension on the LRCI, mainly because a lot of the works we couldn't get done in time. So I communicated back with them probably in about April, put in several variations that have had no acknowledgement or response, unfortunately. However, at a meeting on Monday at Regional Road Group, it was pleasing to hear that 2 other councils have had actually responses which have been positive. So we haven't spent that money because we're not sure if they'll take it off us, but I think the risk is very, very low.
So yeah, I guess this follows on to the payments for these capital projects as well, being less than budgeted at 1.8 million. Again, we've got some of the larger items here being the purchase of plant and equipment and transport, 377,000. Also, yeah, the Donnybrook Rec Centre, 193,000. Yep, and VC Mitchell, 1.1 million as well. So offset against 2 areas that are greater than estimated. So the Malalia bushfire vehicle acquisition at 290,000, which was also, which is actually a grant-funded amount as well. And also payments to for construction of infrastructure here is also 2.1 million below budget, which roads being a large amount being 631,000 and bridges at 1.1. That's it.
Thank you very much, Meta. Any questions, councillors? Sorry.
Lawrence has looked up the Cooler Gold questions.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, just in regards to your question regarding the payment to Cooler Gold, that's from a surrendered mining tenement, so it's just a refund for the rates for the proportion of that year. So I'd say that the Sandpipe one would be very similar.
Councillor Davey?
Can I just ask whether it was the mining tenement that covered the town site?
Moving on to 9.2.2 in the agenda, 9.2.3, Council Policy EXE CP2. The document execution and application of the Common Seal. Do councillors have any questions? And 9.2.4, Council Policy EMCP6, Caretaker, which relates to our caretaker period coming up before the elections. Acting Director Finance and Corporate, Lauren, would you like to introduce that report?
Thank you, through the chair. So this policy is just it's been reviewed due to the fact that legislation has changed, which those changes need to be reflected within the policy. The caretaker period has changed and it now runs from the period commencing at the time of the nomination closes for the election, so 4 p.m. on the 4th of September, and then it will close once the election's been declared, so we're just updating that information there. The policy itself has been, it refers to a major policy decision. However, the Act's been updated now to refer to a significant act. So there'll be some further updates from tonight to next week as well, just to further remove those and to just really reduce it down and to clarify the exact information that has to be provided in there. So those major policy decisions, it sort of hasn't really changed the types of things that was based on a major policy decision based on the significant acts. So yeah, it's just more or less just updating the terms. There will be a change to it refers to the director that can that can make some changes if we need to make a decision on one of those significant acts during the caretaker period. However, it's actually the departmental CEO who we would need to get to advise that we can do that. And I'll just further define the extraordinary circumstances of which those decisions then can be made, just to further clarify that information as well. So it's just good timing as well to bring it up now because the caretaker period will be coming up soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Any questions, councillors? That takes us through to item 9.3, Chief Executive Officer reports. Item 9.3.1, the endorsement of the Shire of Donnybrook Baling Up organisational values. CEO, would you like to introduce?
Just very briefly, thanks very much, Shire President. So, look, councillors, I'll take the report and the attachment as read. There's probably just a few points that I wanted to highlight and amplify in this forum. Obviously, as an organisation and a new term of council, we're going through that rebuilding phase. We've got a new organisational structure, new term of council, a number of new governance frameworks, including our risk program. At the last OCM, council adopted an interim or a review of its council plan, and I guess this is the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to identifying and setting that tone of the way we do business around here as council and the interactions we have between staff, but also between councillors and staff as well within various sort of forums. So I think it really sets that strong sort of culture for our organisation moving forward. And obviously, as the CEO, I speak to the staff about being a values-led organisation, and at the ELT we talk about values-led leadership. Of note is that the consultative process that we went through, the fact that a lot of the information came from the staff and the values that have been decided upon or agreed upon. The staffing body and indeed elected members had a strong voice as part of the consultative process. And indeed, it was great to see even our outside workforce really embracing this as a meaningful process as well. It's one thing to have a new set of values and have them, the pretty pictures up on the wall, but something we've spoken about executive and management is driving and embedding those cultural and the new values into our workplace. So we've already operationalised that through our new performance framework, so our annual staff review process, where we've created two sections where how are we living by our values that we've agreed upon as a staffing body, but then also how are we delivering on our objectives and doing our roles. In our recruitment, certainly, and I've given councillors a bit of a briefing around where we're at with a number of recruitment matters. We've actually have culture and values as some of our recruitment objectives as well. Final point that I just wanted to raise, councillors, this was developed all in-house. I've worked at obviously different organisations at councils where expensive consultants are brought in and we have sort of warm and fuzzies. This has been a really authentic process that's truly reflective of staff and councillor sentiment. So I'll leave you with the words of it's not just about what we do, but the way we do it, and that's certainly so much, that's what this is all about when it comes to our culture. So thanks very much, Shire President.
Thank you very much. Any questions, councillors? Thank you. Moving on to item 10, elected member motions, of which previous notice has been given. And 10.1.1, do we need two ones there? 10.1 or 10.1.1? Application by Baling Up Cycle submission for a community playground. Councillor Patrick, always a difficult thing when you're the elected member putting the report forward, but would you like to introduce the report without any bias, please?
Sure, thanks. Look, I think most councillors will be aware of this. I know it's been discussed in brief, but also I know that Baling Up Cycle approached majority, if not all councillors in relation to this. It's fairly self-explanatory, and I would like to acknowledge the fact that most of the words in there aren't mine. They are just copied and pasted from the submission that's come from Baling Up Cycle. Essentially, it is quite self-explanatory in that the Baling Up Cycle group have been proactive and want to approach Taliesin as part of their community grants to fund a playground for older children to be placed in the village green in Baling Up. As I say, it is quite self-explanatory. The attachments are there, and I obviously am aware now there will be the presentation next week from Karen in relation to this item. But look, happy to answer any questions if anyone has any that they're not already, happy to answer any questions.
Well done. Any questions, councillors?
Yeah, I just want to ask,
Councillor Lindeman?
do we have the statistics on the ages, etc., that reside in Baling Up? Youth,
I didn't
from
read them
7
in the
up to
report.
whatever. Yeah, I didn't see any statistics in how many youth
Can
are
you-
actually there.
No, look, I don't have the statistics and I don't even think I could actually meaningfully get them in the time. I think one of the points to note on that is that it's not just about those that reside in there, but it's about those that pass through and stop and, you know, dine at the, you know, Mr Foster's and the other cafes and things. So it's more than just the residential population, it's also something for those that are passing through town to stop and use as well.
Thank you. Councillor Gubler.
We had some discussion, I think it was the last meeting, about doing a review of the different things that's happening in Balingup, you know, about the hub and that. Would this be
I'll
part of
ask-
that or not? Or?
I'll ask the CEO to respond to that.
So councillors will recall at our last budget meeting, there's in the draft budget, there's money notionally set aside to undertake a recreation study, a recreation master plan for not only that park but also the Balingup Recreation Centre and precinct as well. So there is a master plan that is foreshadowed in the budget if indeed it is adopted as is.
Thank you, CEO. Are there any other questions? Councillor Glover?
I'm just, if you can please refresh my memory about it, because it's, they want to build, the playground's proposed to be built on the village green. What is the zoning of the land for the village green?
Thank you, Councillor Glover.
I'm not aware of the actual zoning. I think maybe the question may be more pertinent around the tenure. Was that the, yeah, no, that's okay. So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, officers, is that it's not owned by council, it's not reserve land, it's actually owned by ARC. So there are tenure considerations should this proposal move forward.
Any other questions? I have a question regarding materials. Are these materials something that we would normally use as far as, you know, forward-thinking maintenance? And is that a question for Mr Marshall?
Thanks, Madam President. Certainly the preliminary design that I've seen, it would be along the lines of what I'd be looking or seeking sort of quotes for other new playgrounds. And to be honest, it's quite timely because it gives me an idea of what the budget would be for the planned playgrounds for VC Mitchell Park. It is quite low maintenance material, so it would be something that I'd be looking at for sure.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Patrick. Moving on to item 11, there's no new business of an urgent nature. Item 12, meeting closed to the public. We don't have to vote for this at an agenda briefing, so we'll just inform those who are watching via live stream that we will turn off the live stream for 2 items that we need to discuss, and then we will come back. Well, we won't be reading any decisions, so we may as well just close when we come back. So we will only be coming back to close the meeting. Thank you. Yeah. We've come back to close the meeting at item 13. The presiding, and I will advise that the next ordinary council meeting will be held on the 23rd of July 2025 at 5 p.m. at the Shire of Donnybrook Balingup Council Chambers. And we